Hello bookworms, I'm Hannah, and this is the third of 7 spotlight reviews I plan to post, one for each of the books that was nominated for this year's Andre Norton Award, which is given to the best science fiction or fantasy, young adult or middle grade novel published in the US within the last year. I'm doing something a little different for my Andre Norton reviews. I'll begin by giving you an ambiance-enhanced tour through the book's opening pages, then I'll discuss the book's strengths and weaknesses. Today I'm talking about a middle grade fantasy, The Girl Who Drank the Moon by Kelly Barnhill. When the story opens, we meet 13-year-old Antane, who's following his uncle through the cobbled streets of the Protectorate, a place referred to by some as the City of Sorrows. Their destination is a drab little house encircled by a crowd of murmuring villagers. A woman's anguished cries echo from within the house. When Antane follows his uncle inside, he beholds a disturbing sight. A terrified mother with black hair writhing in the air is clinging desperately to her baby and threatening to assault anyone who touches her child. But armed guards manage to bind and hobble her. They confiscate the baby, then drag the keening woman away to lock her in a tower. Antane's uncle carries the baby girl through fog-laden streets to the edge of the city. The Protectorate's gate closes behind them, and Antane, along with his uncle and the city's council of elders, hasten into the forest that flanks the city. The forest is a dangerous place where ominous trees creak and groan, poison hovers in pockets of bad air, and scalding mud pots boil in the ground. At the end of a winding trail, the elders stop at a circle of ancient trees. Antane watches his uncle lay the baby on a bed of moss at the center of the circle, for she is an offering to the Witch of the Forest, a sacrifice made to prevent the witch from terrorizing the city. Now that the baby has been placed in the circle, everyone turns to leave, save for Antane, who expresses dismay. "Shouldn't we wait for the witch?" he asks. "Surely if the baby is left here alone, she'll be eaten by wild animals." But Antane is told it's not customary to wait, so despite his troubled conscience, he departs, leaving the whimpering baby behind. Enter the witch Zan. She's woken from sleep by the wail of a baby. She lifts the baby into her arms and quiets the child with a bottle of goat's milk. Then she sets off on a long journey through the forest, keeping the baby cradled in her arms along the way. When the goat's milk runs out, Zan lifts a hand to the night sky, gathers gossamer strands of starlight on her fingers, then feeds them to the baby. On the 10th night, Zan is gazing into the baby's twinkling eyes when she reaches for starlight but gathers moonlight by mistake. The baby eats and has her fill of moonlight before Zan realizes that she's unintentionally enmagicked the baby. Magical children are dangerous because their power is erratic and uncontained. Zan, who had planned to be rid of the baby, decides she must keep her instead, to watch the child and to wait for the day when her power finally emerges in full. And thus begins the magical tale of baby Luna, a girl stolen from her mother, raised by a witch, and gifted with the power of the moon. Luna's story is a good old-fashioned fairy tale replete with witches, dragons, and an ancient creature who resides in a bubbling, sulfurous bog. Her world is comprised of enchanted objects, talking animals, magic spells, and villainous monsters. Reading about this tapestry of folkloric fantasy creatures is a delight because of Barnhill's narrative voice. Her prose is lush and whimsical, and so too is her portrayal of magic, which is arguably the best element of this book. Sometimes magic is accidental, emerging in the form of iridescent flowers that blossom from each footstep behind Luna as she runs through the forest. Other times it's playfully intentional, as when Luna transforms a book into a dove or enlivens her pencils and quills to dance atop her desk. But not all magic is innocent or sweet. Some forms of magic require the exchange of a sinister currency, one that's disturbing to read about whenever it's employed by a character with ill intentions. Barnhill's imaginative prose also accounts for this novel's vivid sense of atmosphere, whether it's a city laden with tenacious moss and fog clinging to its walls, or a foul-smelling swamp buried beneath a thick layer of slime, ranging in color from poison green to blood red. Every setting materializes into a place that can be seen, smelled, and touched. While it's easy to be immersed in this fantasy world, it's occasionally difficult to discern who is the main character. Luna is certainly a central figure, but this is a multi-generational saga and subsequently has a large cast of characters. Each character brings their own quirks and idiosyncrasies to the story, so they're easy to differentiate, but because there are so many, the story is fairly complicated. Also, the story is occasionally dark and disquieting, and for that reason, it's recommended for a slightly older middle grade audience, ages 10 to 14. Bottom line, this book won the 2017 Newbery Medal, and it's not hard to see why. With luscious prose, a winding plot, and a cast of charming characters, The Girl Who Drank the Moon is an alluring tale of love and magic forging unlikely friendships. If you've read The Girl Who Drank the Moon, tell me your thoughts on the book in the comments below. Thanks, everybody!